All right, guys, we'll pick up for video 2 right here, and we're going to start on question 4. Good thing we've only got 5 questions, so this one won't take as long. It says, question 4, a teacher asked her students to simplify the expression 5 to the 5th over 5 to the negative 5th. 2 of the responses she got from her students were as follows. Response 1, 5 to the 5th over 5 to the negative 5th equals 5 minus 5, which equals 5 to the 0 power, and anything to the 0 power equals 1. Just so you know, that is the wrong answer. Second one, 5 to the 5th over 5 to the negative 5th. Now, you remember when we have fractions that we subtract. So 5 to the 5th, I need to take 5 minus something. And the thing I need to subtract is negative 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 minus negative 5. And sometimes it helps to put this second number in parentheses to help us realize that we have 2 negatives right there. We've got minus, negative, and when you see that, sometimes they'll kind of remind you that that almost looks like a plus symbol right there. And that's really what you need to do, is add those 2 together and get 5 to the 10th power, because I did minus negative. I had to subtract because that's what we do when we have a fraction. What was I subtracting? Negative 5. 5 minus negative 5 means 5 plus 5. When you go to explain that, because that's the next thing that it says on the test, is not only do you have to choose response B, but which response is correct, justify your answer using sentences to explain your reasoning. You can't say I used a calculator. You can't say because I knew how to do it. You need to state that when you have fractions, you subtract. So you needed to take 5 minus negative 5, and that when you subtract a negative, it becomes an addition problem. You need to state when you subtract a negative, it becomes an addition problem. If you don't say that in your answer, you can't receive all points. So make sure you put that in there, and that's why 5 to the 10th power would be the correct answer. Now, it's not the same exact question on the test, but it's very similar. And it's got this concept in it that you need to understand. Minus negative means addition. Let's jump down to the last question on here. Match the following equivalent values. So 5 to the negative 2nd. Well, if I have 5 to the negative 2nd, I know that I need to change that negative. And in order to change that negative, I always make a fraction with the 1 on the top. And then I put 5 squared on the bottom. When I look for the answer 1 over 5 to the 2nd, it's not an option. And that's because they went ahead and simplified 5 squared, or 5 to the 2nd power, and they got 1 over 25. So we need to look for 1 over 25 as an option, and it is there. And that would be the one that we need to mark. So it would be choice B for number 1 up here. Question 2 says 1 over 6 to the negative 2nd, and that one's different than what we've seen. It's a really simple fix. Anytime you have a negative exponent, it's not allowed. And what you really ultimately do is move it to the opposite side of the fraction. So in this case, I've already got a fraction. 6 to the negative 2nd is on the bottom. I'm simply going to move it to the top of the fraction and make it positive. So then I get 1 times 6 squared. That's a horrible 6, but I'm using the mouse pad. And then 1 times 36 equals 36. So I'm just looking for the answer of 36, and I think I will find it right here as letter A. Next one, 7 squared. That's pretty simple. 7 times 7 is 49. Nothing tricky there. 8 to the negative 2nd. I simply have a negative exponent, and I need to make it 1 over 8 squared, and 8 squared is 64, so 1 over 64 down here. On this one, I'm going to skip over this one for just a second and go to 4 to the negative 2nd. And again, same concept, 1 on the top, 4 squared on the bottom. 4 squared is 16, so that matches with letter C. Now, what you'll notice is the only one I haven't used yet is 3 to the negative 2nd. So let's think of this backwards, because they gave me 1 over 3 squared right here. Let's look at this right here. And if I had 3 to the negative 2nd, I would need to make that 1 over 3 squared, which is this over here. So on one of the questions, you have to think backwards on it and go that route. Again, your test is tomorrow, Tuesday. So make sure that you've gone over this. If you have questions, make sure you ask.